Power Apps just dropped a brand new function that makes life so much easier for makers. In this video, I'm excited to show you the new confirm function, which eliminates the need for manual pop-up dialogues or custom-built components. I'll show you all about this new function, where to use it, and we'll compare it to the Fluent 2 dialog component that we've built previously on the channel. All of this will help you make the right decision for your apps. Channel members have access to download the apps used in the videos, as well as the YAML code used in the components that I showcase. You can click the join button below the video if you're interested in supporting the channel. Before we begin, I'll quickly just call out two things. One is that you need to be using the authoring version shown on the screen here, or later. And you also need to have the modern controls and themes option enabled on your app. At its core, the confirm function displays a modal dialog with a message and two buttons. If the user presses confirm, then the function returns true, and if they cancel, it returns false. The official documentation currently shows that the confirm function is only for model-driven apps, but with this update, it also works in Canvas apps as well. Confirm dialogs are super useful when you want to make sure that a user truly intends to do something, like delete a record or submit a form or trigger a flow. Before the confirm function, makers often built these dialogs manually or made reusable components with various custom properties like we've done on the channel before. All of that just to mimic a modal pop-up, and the confirm function simplifies that. Let's insert a button on the screen and start typing our function. We can see the confirm function is prompting for two pieces of information, a message and an optional options record. Let's first fill in the message and then we'll click our button. This shows a very simple unbolded text along with a confirm button and a cancel button. Very straightforward. I mentioned before that the confirm function outputs a true or false value, and we can use that to take action in our app based on the user's choice. We'll wrap our confirm function in an if function, and if the result of the confirm function is true, we'll notify the user of that selection. If the result of the confirm function is false, we'll notify that the user selected cancel. You can see with this structure that the confirm function is really just an input to an if function or any other condition. We'll select our button and we're shown our dialog. If we click confirm, now we get our notification that confirm was selected. If we select it again and we select cancel, now this time cancel was selected. An interesting behavior of these pop-ups is that if the user clicks anywhere outside of the dialog, that is also counted as cancel. So you can see in that scenario, I click outside of the dialog and we get a notification that cancel was selected. The user can also hit escape and that will also count as canceling. We'll go back to our confirm function and we'll talk about this other parameter for options record. This record can contain 4 different options, which influence the actual pop-up that's displayed on the screen. These 4 fields within the record can be title, subtitle, confirm button, and cancel button. We can fill these in like any other record, and we'll see what these look like in our confirmation pop-up. So now within the confirm function, we have our confirmation message, and then we have a title and subtitle, as well as the definitions for what our confirm button text, as well as our cancel button text will be. We'll select our button, and we can see exactly how this shows up on the screen. The title is bolded in this case, the subtitle is a little bit larger than the message, and then the actual confirmation message is a normal font size. We can see the button text filled in with the buttons from our option record. And again, if we select one of those, we can see our notification function is run appropriately. One important thing to note about this confirmation pop-up is that it's completely dynamic. It will adjust to the user's screen size, and it will also show a scroll bar if the message is too large for the screen. I can add a crazy amount of text to this, and you can see we get a scroll bar on the right-hand side. The same can be said for our title and subtitle as well. They just kind of push down the message as far as possible, and any overflow is just pushed into the scrolling part of the pop-up. Another thing to note about this function is that you can actually remove the buttons altogether to create a purely informational pop-up. If I remove both of these button texts, the buttons still appear, except they have no height to them. If I remove the title and the subtitle, the space above the message does get reclaimed, as you can see here. If for some reason you leave everything empty, then the user doesn't really get much. So that's the basic structure of the confirm function. You have a message, a title, a subtitle, and then the text for both your confirmation button as well as the cancel button. The output of the confirm function is either true or false, and you can use that throughout your app to then make decisions on the result that the user has selected. One thing I did try is modifying this text with some HTML, but it does look like they're stripping out the HTML when it's displayed on the screen. Probably one of the most widely used examples of a dialog like this would be shown when a user is deleting a record. We can actually look at one of the screen templates provided by Microsoft, the table and form template, to see an example of a dialog that was previously manually created. In this template, we can select an item, and then we can click delete, and in our tree view, we can see a container for delete confirm dialog container, and we can see our text as well as our confirmation and our cancel button. Instead of the 7 controls shown here on the left, we can completely bypass that using the new confirm function. In the process, we also clean up 2 context variables. In our delete button, instead of this old formula, we'll use an if function, and for our logical test, we'll use the confirm function. For the message, we'll ask the user, are you sure you want to delete this record? And then within our options record, we'll enter yes as the confirm button and no as the cancel button. If the result of our confirm function is true, meaning that the user selected yes, then we'll remove the table selected item from the data source. We'll select one of these and then click the delete button, and we're shown our prompt. Are you sure you want to delete the record? If we select no, then no action is taken. If we select yes, then the record is removed. Now let's take a look at comparing this to a component that we've built on the channel, which is the Fluent2 dialog component. The dialog component follows very similar design language to the confirm function, except in this case, it's an actual control on the screen. To try to simplify the visibility of the component, we opted to use custom properties to expose a dialog visible property, which then controls whether the component is visible or not on the screen. Our buttons and our logic then call that component's setVisibility property, which decides to either show or hide the component on the screen. Within the component's advanced properties, we also provided onSelect properties for both the primary and the secondary buttons, so that we could trigger actual formulas based on the user's selection of either of these buttons. We also provided very similar input properties such as the body and the header. If you're interested in building this component, I'll leave a link in the top right corner where we walk through building this. I don't see too many major differences between this component and the new confirm function. We still have the basic input properties for the text that we display, as well as the button text, and really using an if function to determine if the confirm or cancel button was selected is pretty much the same as a primary button and a secondary button on select. I think the biggest difference actually are these 2 properties for close button as well as modal. If we disable the modal property, we have the ability to put this component into individual containers on the screen. So if we only want it to appear within a certain area of the screen, we can limit it to that area. A modal dialog is one that prevents the user from interacting with anything else on the screen. We also have this option for the close button, which by default is enabled if the dialog is a non-modal dialog. This just allows us to display a cancel button for that non-modal dialog. Here we can see our confirm button with the exact same text that our component has, and here's our component in that same fashion. You can see there's a nice animation over top of the confirm function, and for the most part they both follow the same Fluent2 design. Very similar to the card control that we looked at, the places you might opt to use a dialog component instead of the confirm function is where you need to customize the contents of this container past the input parameters that you're given. If you need to change the color of the header or the color of the body text or the styling on either of these buttons, or if you need this option to dismiss the modal with a close button. The Fluent2 dialog also has some extra functionality to remove the buttons altogether and create a purely informational dialog. These are all scenarios where you're probably better off opting for a component versus the confirm function. However, for very quick user confirmation that's using something built into Power Apps, honestly, you can't get much better than this. And that's about it. As Canvas apps now support the confirm function, you'll be able to reduce your custom UI pop-ups and save on time as well as controls on your screen. Drop a comment with how you'll be using this in your apps, and let me know if you'll opt to use this versus using a component like the Fluid 2 Dialog. If you liked this video, give it a like and get subscribed for future videos like this one. I hope you enjoyed and have a great day.